Good evening, everyone. Am I on mute now? Good evening, everyone. Welcome tonight to the Lower Makefield Township Sewer Authority meeting. My name is Barbara Kirk. I am the solicitor to the township and this board. I'm opening the meeting as the board needs to reorganize this meeting is the first meeting of the new year. First item of business is roll call.
Happy to go first. Joe Lingle, board member.
Scott?
Scott Phillips, board member.
Phil?
Phil Tyler, board member.
Dad, Greg?
Greg Huckelbridge, Public Works Director for Lower Makefield Township.
Fred?
And Fred Weiss, supervisor.
Oh, sorry.
Which Fred?
Yeah, Fred Weiss.
Yeah, Fred Weiss, supervisor liaison.
And our other.
Yeah, Fred Ebert, Township Wastewater Consultant.
All right, so the next item before the board is reorganization. I am prepared to take a motion for chairperson of the board. Come on, guys, which one of the three of you want to be chair?
All right. It's only for a few months.
All right, I need a motion from somebody to.
I'll make a motion for Phil Tyler to be chairperson of this board going forward.
Is there a
Second.
second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Phil, you're now chair.
Wonderful.
All right.
You can take over now.
Okay, so the next would be, we need a secretary or vice president.
Vice Chair.
Sorry.
Yep.
Vice chair.
Yeah, vice chair. We need a motion for vice chair. Joe, are you up to that?
I'm happy to do it, Phil.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Okay, well, Scott, how you like to be the secretary?
That sounds fine.
Get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion for Scott Phillips to be a secretary of this board.
I'll second that for Scott. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay. Well, I guess we got to go talk to Fred now. Ebert.
Well, you have to approve the minutes for October 29th.
That's right. I forgot all about that because you didn't send me an agenda.
No, I did on the Friday. Sorry.
You didn't show up. All right. Well, okay. We all read the minutes, so I need a motion to approve the minutes for our last meeting that we were together.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 2020 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Done. All right, Greg, I'm working without a.
Next would be engineers report.
That's
Fred
right.
Ebert.
Go to Fred Ebert.
You guys all hear me?
Yes, 15 minutes.
I'll be less than that. First thing is an update on our 2020 INI project. We had 4 projects, as the board will remember, that were bid out. The first project was bid out under contract SWR 20-1. This was the lining project. The project was completed on January 15th, 2021. We did have 2 construction issues. Number one was that there was a liner bulge that was out, and we were able to repair that at no cost to the township. They went in, basically cut it out and installed a repair sleeve on it. It was just an isolated area where the pipe behind it had broken. We did have a second, more significant issue that when installing the liner on another section, the liner actually ruptured, the hose pipe ruptured, and the liner therefore ruptured. It's impossible to know exactly what happened, but what's believed to have happened, because we televised it before construction, and there was no pipe deformity on the inside of the pipe. However, and the reason for our project is because of, springs and things like that. We believe that there was a high potential that there was no backfill behind the pipe and it was a void. And it possibly could have had a deficiency in the pipe. So when they installed it, the hose pipe, vitrified clay pipe ruptured, causing the liner to rip and had to be reinstalled. The first thing I had to do is we had to repair the hose pipe with spot liners, and then we had to reinstall the liner. But because there is no way of knowing, once the hose pipe ruptured or broke, there's no way of knowing what the backfill was because everything came down into the pipe. So we negotiated with the contractor that we would basically pay for the replacement materials, and he would pay for all of the labor and equipment costs to install that. That is a change order in the amount of approximately $17,685. He originally asked for labor and materials lost, but we negotiated with him, basically explaining that, we also can't prove that. But I think it's a very reasonable way to do that he's just being replaced for his actual lost materials for both the liner and the repair. So what I'm actually looking for is concurrence of the Sewer Authority Board on this recommendation so that I can bring it before the Board of Supervisors for their final consideration on March 3rd. But I'd be happy to answer any questions about the repair and the change order.
Fred, I just had a couple comments and questions, if it's okay.
Absolutely.
In reading through it, it seems like a reasonable proposal. It doesn't look like, obviously they asked for additional, for the full borne course, they negotiated it down to just the labor for the lost time. I just want to confirm before being comfortable that they used all the standard of care in advance to make sure that that this could not have been a known issue had they followed all the appropriate protocols, and this just happened to be something that was unknowable at the time.
That is correct. And let me further explain to you what they did. So the first thing they do is they flush the line and then they televise it. What we're looking for there is a crack in a pipe or a deficiency or anything like that would cause, a different technique to be utilized or to have to actually repair the hose pipe to go through there. There was no deficiency at all on the inside of the pipe. So there was no way for us to know if there was backfill or not backfill on the exterior of the pipe.
Thank you. I mean, that being said, from my perspective, it seems like a reasonable accommodation and justification for the change order.
And the inversion method was the original method, or was there a method specified for that section pipe?
We do not specify. The means and methods are the contractors, but the inversion method is clearly the industry standard for how everything is done. In special circumstances, you can float a liner down, and there are other methodologies that are commonly used, but they're only when there are pipes that are in extremely poor condition. You notice cracks and items like that, but that would also come at a significantly different unit cost for that installation of a different methodology. So yes, this was what was anticipated and the intent of the bid on that.
Okay, thanks, Fred.
Fred, is this, it would seem to me that this is really one of the drivers behind doing this project to begin with. And are we expecting to see more and more of these similar circumstances? Or is there a way of preventing similar ones for the next stages?
There's no way to prevent it in the next stages because you can't see what's behind the pipe as you go down through there. The costs of using other methods are significantly more expensive. It is extremely rare that this happens, but it does happen. It actually is more common to happen in a smaller pipe than a larger pipe, just because, as you invert it, you need more pressure to open up a bag in a smaller opening. So I actually asked the contractor that exact question. How do I protect my clients in the future on this? And he's like, there really is no way. We do tens of thousands of linear feet a year. And this is the first time that we've actually had the hose pipe where it wasn't, we rolled the dice a few times and were successful where we had really bad crack. But we realized that it was going to cost so much to dig it up and do the repair before we could line it, that we rolled and we were successful. Here, there was no indication that way. So it's unfortunately, you don't know when they were installing it, did somebody drop a rock on the vitrified clay pipe and it just didn't go through and it was there? Was there an underground spring right around this area that eroded out all the backfill? Did somebody else dig, up in there? Or was it just, I don't say poor workmanship or poor workmanship. I don't think it was poor workmanship. I think the pipe, there's a reason that we're replacing these lines because they're leaking. So a lot of time that's indicative of a poor installation the first time, not properly compacting the backfill around it. And that's what leads to leaking lines over 50 years. That very well may be what happened here, but we have no way of knowing.
And did I understand it correctly that even with this addition of the $17,000 some odd dollars, that puts it pretty close to what the other bid was?
Yes. Yep.
Within
and
a
we're
couple
still
thousand
less
bucks.
than the 10% contingency that I put in. And if you'd have looked at the next lowest bidder, we're within 2% of what that would be. So I guess what I'm looking for, I think we got the recommendation that I can bring forward to the Board of Supervisors. And with that, once that's approved, we'll issue the payment request. And the only thing that'll be remaining then will be for them to provide their maintenance bond and then release of retainage. And that contract will be successfully completed. On the manhole liner project.
So Fred, before you move, maybe it would be best for the board if they're inclined to make a recommendation to approve the change order as presented.
That's what I was going to just do. Well, we all heard what Fred said. So basically, we can. So if someone put a motion out on the floor, we'll vote on it.
I'm happy to make a motion to approve the change order as explained by Mr. Ebert for presentation to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? With an aye?
Aye.
Okay, Fred, you got it.
Great, thank you. I will forward that to the Board of Supervisors. Second contract was contract SWR 20-2. This was the manhole rehabilitation contract. All the work was completed on December 11th, 2020. We issued these certificate of substantial completion on February 17th. We'll be presenting a payment request to the Board of Supervisors, which will be everything besides the 5% retainage. And I don't believe any action is required on that other than let you know it was a very successful project, completed actually well ahead of time with no issues at all. Next contract is contract SWR 20-3. This is the Brookstone Pump Station upgrade. This is where we had a metal can, concrete wet well and a metal dry well. The metal dry well was rotting out and was actually rising up out of the ground, basically because it's held in the ground by an anti-flotation collar. However, back in the day, they used steel eye bolts or turnbuckles to connect the metal can down to the concrete anti-flotation collar. We believe that just the ground, the acidity of the ground just basically ate and rusted out those guide buckles, and it started to float up. So we basically are retrofitting the wet well with 2 submersible pumps. The contractor started last week on that. We're delayed a little bit, obviously, with the snow, but they've mobilized. They've set up the bypass pumping on Thursday. The bypass pumping is successfully set up. We're using electric motors for the bypass pumping so that we don't have diesel-driven pumps going all night. And that job is going rather well. The next contract that we have, so all that is an update. The construction has started and progressing. The next contract that we have is SWR 20-4D. This is a Stackhouse pump station upgrade or the replacement of that. This is obviously significantly more equipment that's required. We've reviewed the shop drawings on this, and we are waiting to hear back from the contractor for delivery dates. He wants to wait until all the equipment is at his shop before he mobilizes. The reason for this is in the back yards of 3 individuals. So what he's looking to do is doesn't want to start it and leave it look like a war zone, especially during this time of year where it's very hard to stabilize anything. This is right on the edge of the canal. So he's moving through with that. We've met with the landowner, with one of the 2 landowners. We've walked and staked and marked out all the trees and have agreed upon him what all trees need to be taken down. There was actually a tree that was on our pump station easement that fell into this easement that will also be removing. So we are pushing the contractor for a updated schedule, and he is pushing his manufacturers for updated delivery schedules. So basically right now, manufacturers with COVID, until it's manufactured, they aren't even giving a definite date of when it will be shipped out. But we are pushing him weekly on that. That's an update on the 4 contracts that we have out to date. As part of our corrective action plan with the PADEP, we're required to do these I&I projects as well as our pump station upgrades in order to stay in compliance with our connection management plan, which allows for future connections. It's also a requirement that we continue with the plan and maintain our plan during the sale to Aqua Pennsylvania, as this is representative of what's in the budget, what's expected to be done. And if for some reason the sale were to be delayed past this fall, we would have an obligation to have this completed. Last year we were delayed by COVID on the start of that. This year we don't want to be in the same position, that it's clearly done before our commitment to Aqua is due and before our commitment to DEP is due. So we're bringing forth tonight 2 contracts that are ready to be bid, and we're looking for a recommendation on them. The first contract is contract SWR 21-1. This is for the manhole rehabilitation in there. And there are 2 items on there for that. One is in the Neshaminy area, and the other is in the Morrisville Municipal Sewer Service area. So Kirk, I don't know if you can put up the 1-page spreadsheet for SWR 21-1 on the screen and share your screen.
Just a moment, please.
That's -2. Can you get -1? You guys might not be able to read this. I can probably talk through it if you don't need the screen. Does the board want to see the screenshot, or would you like me to talk through the cost with you?
Well, we're all waiting for the cost. There we go.
Yeah, this was all in the packet that Greg distributed on Friday at like 5:20, I believe.
Yeah.
What is the file name?
I don't have the PDF. Give me a second. Oh, there it is.
Contract SWR 21-1.
Yes,
21-1.
yes, that's it. As part of our budget and part of our requirement to DEP, we break it into the Neshaminy service area, which goes to Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority, and the Morrisville Municipal Authority service area. In the Neshaminy service area, the 2021 budget is $15,540. Our estimated project cost with a 10% contingency is $13,942.50. And the reason we're slightly under the budgeted amount is just because of the unknown in the public bidding market. So we wanted to make sure that we're there and allow a little bit more in case there is a change order in there that it does provide that. And in that, we will be doing 3 manholes as part of the liner project. And what the liner is it's a spray-on application that with a 10-year guarantee that basically protects provides both a structural layer reinforcement and then a protective layer to prevent from hydrogen sulfide gas attack on it. In the Morrisville Municipal area, Municipal Sewer Authority area, our budget is $20,600. Our estimated project cost is $18,950, and there's 4 manholes. And if you go to the second sheet on this PDF, there was this. Yep, the second page should be 1 of 2 pages. You can either scroll down or scroll up. Oh, there it is. What you can see in the why did we choose these manholes? So in the Neshaminy area, all 3 manholes are at the discharge of a force main from the Brookstone pump station. When the force main discharges, it releases hydrogen sulfide gas, which attacks the concrete in the manhole. So in Morrisville, in the Neshaminy service area, they were all at the force main discharge location. In the Morrisville service area, when we were doing the Silver Lake lining project, we actually discovered an active leak in a manhole that was not coming from the sanitary sewer main, was actually leaking in the manhole. So we added that to there. The other 2 where we had done physical investigations of the manholes, popping lids, and manhole E1 and E2 showed active concrete deterioration. So we're lining them, those to restore those manholes and prevent any further deterioration. And the 4th one is a discharge from the Maple Vale pump station discharge. And that's just preventative maintenance. There actually was no active yet deterioration of the concrete, but there will be in the future. We know that at all discharge locations to manholes that they will deteriorate, especially the past practice was that there was raw concrete in there and wasn't even epoxy lined. Nowadays, we actually put a PVC liner on discharges. So what I'm looking for is a recommendation of the authority for contract SWR 21-1 manhole rehabilitation contract, which is in accordance with our corrective action plan, so that I can bring this in front of the Board of Supervisors at their March 3rd meeting.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, unless anybody has any questions or
Can I
concerns.
ask any questions first? Well, at least we're not in the $100,000 category. Any questions, John?
But what is the requirement for the cap? Is it based on a certain dollar amount that must be allocated by the township?
Yeah, we've represented a dollar amount that's shown in the budget. The cap really discusses identification of areas based on flow meters and flow data. And then what we represented in our cap was what was consistent with our budget. in there. So that's the commitment that the Board of Supervisors made when it established that budget. And that budget was presented to DEP and accepted by DEP.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hear a motion?
To make a motion that we recommend moving forward with SWR 21-1 as outlined by Fred Ebert.
A second.
Second? Scott?
Yes. Yep. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go, Fred.
Thank you. The next contract that we're looking for authorization to bid out is contract SWR 21-2. This is the lining contract for the lining of sanitary sewer mains. This is very consistent with the project that we just completed. The Lower Makefield Township budget, actually, if you can put up the spreadsheet, Kurt, for contract SWR 21-2. Okay, this is in the Neshaminy service area. The overall budget on this is $180,250. We're going to line 3 separate areas that were identified previously, and this is which is the gravity line to the Yardley Oaks pump station. Yardley Oaks pump station has higher than average flows and is impacted by peak flows significantly more. The wet weather to dry weather flows are significantly higher. The next area is between Big Oak Road and Stony Run Road. And the last area is a continuation of Stony Hill Road. The overall construction cost estimate with the 10% contingency is $177,291. This will do approximately a little bit more than a half a mile of pipe. The first area of 10-inch pipe is about just under 500 linear feet. The second area of 10-inch pipe is around 1,700 feet. And the last area is around 900 linear feet. And this is, the prices are consistent with what we've seen in the industry. They were extremely low at the last bid. We got incredible bids, as you remember the last time, because of the volume discount that 2 contractors were 20 to 30% lower than everyone else. I can't guarantee that again, and then if we can turn over then to the second sheet on this one, Kurt, which would be the Morrisville Municipal Service Area.
I think it's MMA cost estimate.
Yes. Yep. This is the area in what's known as the Buck Creek Interceptor. And this has been on our budget for a long time and previously identified. Other sections of this interceptor were previously lined probably 10 years ago. And this is a continuation of that project. The budget for this section is $221,450. The estimated engineer's estimate is $214,186. And part of the reason that I can't hit my budget exactly is that I have to go from manhole to manhole. You're not going to line a partial section. So you have to do that, which ends at a manhole that's underneath our budget. So entertain any questions from the board on this contract.
Is there any bonds or any infrastructure money out there?
There are no grants available right now. There's no grant programs out there, and this is already included in the 2021 budget.
The township's budget?
What?
The township's budget?
The township's budget, yes.
Okay.
Fred, wasn't this part of the plan that you presented to DEP a couple years ago for the I&I
Yes.
corrective
Yes.
action?
This is part of the corrective action plan and a requirement of the corrective action plan. Thank you, Barbara. I should have highlighted that to the board. That this is also a PADP requirement in order for us to release our EDUs, the same as the requirements were for last year.
Right, because the corrective action plan was broken down by so many years, and we were doing certain sections each year.
Yes, 7 years.
That was the 10-year plan?
Yeah.
Okay. It's in the budget. I mean, if the townships put it in the budget and, you know, it's approved. So only thing, any questions, gentlemen?
Just one quick one. Probably maybe you should have asked it earlier, but do you have a sense, since this is a similar project was completed recently, of what the before and after flows that we're seeing as a result of the remediation that we've seen? Is it too early to tell at this point?
Too early to tell. We literally just got done installing the other one on like January 15th.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten any flows at that, but it all goes to one section of that. They all go to flow to pump stations. So we will see that, and this is one thing that, you really don't see a lot of impacts. You do see impacts, but it's really 3 to 5 years down once you line it. Because what will happen is when you line one section, it'll run to the next section and go in there. It's when you do the continuation, which this is, especially around the Silver Lake area, where you see that, that. And part of it is you then retelevise it. But I've seen historically, within 3 years, I see a very significant decrease.
Great. Thank you. No questions other than that from me.
All right. Anybody want to put a motion on the floor?
I can make a motion to recommend contract 21-2 be brought forward to the board of supervisors for consideration.
And a second. That's you, Scott. There's only 3 of us.
It was on mute.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, Fred, you're on a roll.
Yep. Next thing is just a highlight. I'm not asking for any action, just an update. But as part of the 2021 budget is the upgrade of the Silver Lake pump station. This is where we're going to basically be taking the existing dry pit pumps that have a motor up top and a very long 35-foot deep shaft going down to the pump, and basically replacing them with new piping and dry pit submersible pumps. We have had a number of shafts break just due to the age. We've also had issues with not being able to clean or to close valves due to their age, to isolate them, to work on the pumps. And they also have a filter system that literally Lower Makefield Township has 3 out of like 8 of them that exist in this world anymore. That basically filtered on the discharge of a pump, which was a fad that very quickly died. It's worked pretty well so far, but because our valves don't work, we can't back flush those filters anymore, and they're clogging, and it's reducing the capacity of our pump, causing our pumps to work significantly harder, which then wears on these shafts, causing these shafts to wear and vibrate. So this project is in the budget for 2021, and I will be bringing that out back to the board in the month of March, but it's just under design right now.
Fred, quick question on that. Is there no interim opportunity to remove the filters on the discharge side of those pumps?
No, you really have to. Once you break it down, because we've tried to do that, the isolation valves, both on the suction side of the pump and on the discharge, don't work. The check valves don't hold a tight seal as well either.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. Or trust me, our operator is spending many, many, many hours out there because we can't do those simple things.
Yeah, we're trying to backflush them pretty much every day at this point.
Yep. Manually backflush them
Yeah, it's
because they don't do it automatically anymore.
Correct.
No.
So I don't need any direction, and I just wanted to update the board on what's going to be coming forward in the next month. As far as additional updates, what we're working on is we're completing the 2020 flow data for the Chapter 94 reports. I am literally today working on the reconciliation with Morrisville and Yardley on the flows, so that the flow proportional costs can be calculated. Just with the number of flow meters that we have, we do have a number of bad data points, which happens in open channel flow meters. We established a formula that we're utilizing, and it's not consistent with the agreement because of the extremely wet year we had in 2018. Doesn't really allow that representative flows to be calculated by that. All of the authorities, Morrisville, Yardley, and Lower Makefield, agree that it just doesn't work. And they've all agreed on this alternative method in the interim until 2018 flows basically work their way out of the system. But we always analyze it to make sure it's fair and proportional for all parties. Whether it benefits us or benefits Yardley is kind of irrelevant. It's a matter of the data has to be as accurate as we can make it as a fair partnership. We're also working on getting by the end of this week, and probably the beginning of next week, all the Chapter 94 reports out to all parties, including an advanced copy into DEP to make sure that they have it. We'll then be working on our 2020 corrective action plan update, which is due by March 31st. And then we are also have assisted the township in the sale of the sewer system by completing what's known as an engineering assessment study to determine the value of the assets of the installed infrastructure. That completes my report, Mr. Chairman, unless the board has any questions on those items.
Any questions for Fred?
None from me.
No, we thank you, Fred.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
And Barbara, the solicitor's report.
Just a few items. For the Stackhouse pump station, I was able to successfully negotiate and acquire all of the necessary easements and rights of way with the 3 affected property owners. I just received the final stack of documents from one of the attorneys today that'll be signed and recorded. So those issues have been resolved for Stackhouse. Brookstone, I'm still working on getting the deed of easement from the HOA. Apparently, the current board members are a bit confused as to why this is required and hadn't been recorded. So I sent over a copy of the title search and report that we had conducted to show that somewhere down the line, nobody followed through, and this is why we need to get it done. In the meantime, though, they did give verbal approval, which I confirmed in writing with their attorney, in order for the township to move forward with the repairs to the Brookstone pump station. I'm working with Fred and the township in making sure all of the appropriate pump stations, easements, and everything are in the name of the township as need to be. Part of that involves the Yardley Oaks pump station, which apparently was not recorded in the township's name. So I'm trying to get that resolved as well. So I'm doing a lot of cleanup, especially in light of the pending sale of the different property rights as part of the asset and equipment. And that's all I have.
Okay, great. Any questions for the solicitor?
None from me, Phil.
Any old business to discuss? Any new business?
I don't think so.
And I'll ask Greg, any updates, Greg?
Well, I think this pretty well covered it. We're making progress on all those capital projects and planning the next round. So things are going pretty good that way, and we're just trying to keep it all running.
Okay, so outside of that, we spent a lot of money as usual. So if there's a motion to adjourn, please say it.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second,
And second,
all in favor? Aye. And I thank you, gentlemen, for being on. And we will see you at the next meeting.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Take care.
Thank you.